Welcome to the Earn First podcast here in Cannes. I'm delighted to be joined by my friend from We.Communications Asia-Pacific President, Mr. Nitin Mantri. Nitin, welcome.
Thank you, Arun. Pleasure to be here.
We are delighted to be recording this podcast in partnership with We.Communications. How has your week been so far? I know we're only on day 2 of Cannes.
We're on day 2. Day one was great. It was just a long day, but it was great. Lots of meetings, lots of good work to see around.
Yeah, and you are a Cannes veteran by this point, I believe.
Yeah, many years of Cannes, yes.
It's
In
a
a good
privilege. It's a privilege.
Yeah. But I have to say that I'm seeing more and more comms people, professionals at Cannes that, if I see the last post-COVID, for example, it's increased dramatically.
Yeah, I think it's a trend. Some of it, I always wonder, is how much of it is comms here to as a function, working to support the brands they work for, and how much of it is comms as in a thought leadership role. But I think both things can be true. Yeah. So one of the things I want to talk to you about actually is something that we're seeing in a lot of the work at Cannes and more broadly, and that's the role that community and culture is playing in successful communications work. And this is something that I think you're seeing as well with some of the award-winning campaigns that We has worked on in Asia, I think for Adidas and for ITC. So let's start with the basics. What does community actually mean for a brand, and how can a brand tap into that without perhaps looking like they are borrowing or exploiting or benefiting? Yeah.
I think the first thing is, community is not like advertising, right?
Mm-hmm.
So community creates participation. Advertising probably creates attention.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about participation. And that's what comms can do particularly well, right? So instead of asking people to watch something, you're giving them a reason to be part of something. And I think that's the core difference between, that's the core advantage of being part of a community. And the Adi Zero launch, actually, you mentioned Adi Zero launch, it actually generated so much of participation within the community.
Yeah.
And that's what made Adi Zero so popular.
Right. Running culture in Asia, if we're talking about Adi Zero, right, has, it's exploded. Yeah. We see it everywhere. Look at India, for example, where we both live. You look at the Mumbai Marathon now is 60,000 runners, and I'm sure you see it just every weekend. The number of runners is gone up massively. So how do you ensure that a brand is kind of genuinely part of that cultural moment, rather than maybe looking like they're jumping on a bandwagon?
I think the key is that the community can tell you when you're right and when you're wrong, right? So when you're not, if you're jumping on the bandwagon, like you said, they will tell you if you will understand if you're part of that community or you're not part of that community, and the community is genuine, and if you care to listen to them, then you know what is right or wrong with them, wrong with your product as well. Yeah. So therefore, as a customer or as a consumer, you will be part of the community, but you'll know the good stuff and the bad stuff. Yeah. And then you can decide whether you want to be part of it or not. Yeah. And if it's all good, you'll continue to be part of it.
And is that an easy transition for brands? Because, many of them have been quite advertising-led, right? If you look at sports brands.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about, community building, it's participatory, like you said. It's about listening.
Yeah.
It's not about attention. It's not about paying for media. How difficult do you, or not, are brands finding that kind of particular shift if they're looking to form maybe deeper and more durable relationships?
Yeah, listen. If you can deepen sort of the community, so the idea is, you have to measure the right things, right? Okay. So if you're measuring the right things, and then you can actually get the best out of the community. And listening is the key part of that whole space. If you want to mistake activity for trust or membership for belonging, then probably not it's about the right measurement.
Right. Okay. And is it difficult to get to those metrics?
It is. The audience answers back.
Yeah.
Right? The audience will answer back. So you can measure different metrics as part of the community. You can change course, you can rectify, you can do what you want to do because it's your community telling you what to do.
Yeah. And We's Brands in Motion research, if I'm not mistaken, found that the metrics that the comms world uses to assess its effectiveness are often quite different from how the public might perceive effectiveness. So doesn't that create a gap that needs addressing?
It does. So we found that 61% of communicators actually believe that they communicate effectively in complexity, but only half of the audience actually agree with that.
Oh, okay.
So are communicators listening to those audiences?
Yeah.
That's the key point. I'm not sure about it. So, you're talking about a big gap between 60% and 38, 39%.
Yeah.
So it's a huge gap. So something that you're saying, only half the people are resonating with it.
Okay. And is that just down to, is it about listening to different signals?
Yeah, it's listening to different signals. It's measuring the right things.
Yeah.
And I think community can actually close that gap.
Right.
So
okay.
I don't know how much of community measurement communicators are doing. Is it just a sort of, I'm saying this and I'm then measuring it back on sort of particular parameters and not really community parameters or audience parameters.
One of the things also from your Future of Comms report is about this kind of constellation of influence now. And, you can't just rely on the sort of traditional sources of influence to help you understand how things are moving. And presumably that applies in the community world as well.
Yeah, influence, celebrities, they're all important. In the AdiZero campaign, we did use a lot of those, and they do create that community together. But having said that, I think if you look at example of our ITC campaign, which is the sort of the right shift fittest 40, right? It wasn't so much of celebrity. So it's not always about having celebrities or influencers.
Yeah.
You can create your own community just on a particular passion point.
Yeah.
Which in this case was nutrition and wellness.
Yeah. Okay. And the ROI, let's talk about a little bit, because we're going to see a lot of campaigns this week in Cannes that are about community and that will have claimed to have changed the culture. But how do you actually measure that, and how do you make that kind of case to a CFO?
Yeah. So, the mistake is to measure the value of a community like a campaign, right? So that's the mistake we make. And the conversation with your CFO starts with outcomes and not activity, right? And that's where we sort of make the mistake. So these are, I think, one thing I love about Cannes is that it rewards creativity, right? So the best work doesn't just attract attention, right? So it changes behavior. And if you can start measuring that behavior piece,
right,
that's solving a problem.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we have to measure. So if you're just having conversation with the CFO on outcomes, then you're not really...
Yeah. And media metrics are just, they're not going to be very meaningful.
They're not going to be meaningful at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
CFO may be happy.
Maybe.
But is it behavior change? Is
Right.
it eventually... And I actually feel behavior change is actually going to increase your sales, and that's when the CFO is going to probably be going to be happy.
Yeah. No, hopefully. If CFOs are ever happy, sure. The other thing, just on community also, is, you talk about a brand like Adidas, for example. They're already beloved in a way by runners, so they already have a kind of a built-in community. What's it like when you're working with a brand that doesn't have the benefit of a passionate subculture that they can already tap into? Yeah,
I mean, again, ITC, like I said, is a great example, right, of that, right? Right Shift was a nutrition-led wellness campaign, right? And for people above 40. And the challenge was that this audience is professionally successful, but often physically neglected.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So they are sort of leading companies, teams, and fitness was not really framed as part of leadership performance.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do with that campaign.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good insight.
So fitness was not really created. It's part of the leadership performance, and we sort of delved into that a little deeper, and the campaign was really successful.
Okay, interesting. Now, one of the ways you can see how companies are perceived by communities and by subcultures is when a crisis breaks out. And you can see who are their advocates and who are the loyalists and who are their detractors. You've worked on a lot of crises in India that often involve startups.
Yep.
Why are startups so often caught up in crises?
I think the first thing I've always counseled some of the founders and startup founders is that please don't see comms as an expense but as an investment. And I think two core reasons. One is they probably don't have professional setups for comms people.
Right.
That's one. Two, and more importantly, they are disruptors. So something hasn't happened. So if you're disrupting something in the industry, there will be some naysayers, and somebody will be impacted, somebody will be affected.
Yeah.
And so crisis becomes natural, especially from a policy regulatory perspective.
Right.
So you've seen that with fintech, you've seen that around crypto, for example.
Yeah.
You've seen that in the gaming industry in India because betting and stuff, right? You've seen that with shared economy apps, right? So in the past. I mean, it's more settled now.
Yeah.
So all that is all disruption. And now you're going to see that more with AI, probably.
Do you think that the frequency of these crises is helping make a stronger case for senior comms professionals to have more influence? Because we're talking a lot this week in Cannes about how the influence of the CCO is growing.
Yep.
And I'm not sure it's the same in India.
I would say the influence of CCO is growing. I think in India, they will be probably maybe lesser than other markets. And I think it depends from firm to firm or industry to industry. May not be in the startup space so much. But if you look at some of the larger organizations, I think the movement is towards having more people who understand corporate affairs as in a broader sense.
Right. Yeah.
And when I say broader sense, to understand policy, issues, comms,
Yeah.
employee communications, right? Or sustainability, very important, and bringing all that together. If you see what's taking place now, and not just in India, but in the world, but also in the Asia-Pacific region, is that geopolitics has made everything so complex. Look at trade. Look at supply chains. Look at economies and politics in general.
Yeah.
Right? You need good CEO counsel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
you do.
that is where the challenge is.
Is that reflected, do you think, always at Indian companies? Because one of the trends we're seeing is, or at least I hear about, is that companies are spending less on their CEOs. Not CEOs. CEOs are doing fine. Companies are spending less on their CCOs. Is that actually true?
In some cases, yes.
Yeah,
I hate to say that, but in some cases, yes.
Right.
I
Why?
don't know, cost.
Right. Okay.
Value, cost. I still feel that CEOs need senior, experienced counsel.
Yeah.
In today's age of complexity.
Yeah, absolutely. Is the talent there? The talent is there.
Talent is 100% there.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also feel, I do hear that CEOs are taking counsel, but may not
from the CCO.
May not be from the CCO, but could be CCO-like, who could be counseling them separately, right? You know what I mean? So it may not be, I don't know, permanent employees or whatever.
Yes, so someone.
Yeah, outside. So they will be counsel, but it could be. But I think the main thing is, for them, counsel needs to bring things together. So even the CCO today, I feel, needs to have that understanding of policy, politics, business, industry, all together.
Do you think CCOs have that in general? Because I know there are some people I would ask and who might say, they don't always keep up with some of these trends as intensively as they should?
All I can say is that they have to.
Yeah,
The
they
world
have
has
to.
changed.
Absolutely.
They have to do it. If they're not doing it,
Yeah.
then they're,
But does this filter down? One of the challenges we always talk about in India, for example, is the fees that are paid to comms firms. So is this kind of symptomatic of the same issue? If CCOs are not being paid enough, does that reflect also just in general how comms is viewed as an investment priority?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there is, fees are always under scrutiny and sort of being challenged every year, year on year. But we're also seeing another trend that CEOs or organizations are actually seeking more counsel from policy firms, and
Right, correct. Yes.
and they're
yeah.
also seeking more counsel from more sort of senior level counsel.
Yeah, and they're willing to spend
Yes,
appropriately. Let's say.
yeah, more appropriately than
More
than for regular comms work.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's for all of us to bring those things together, because then everything is not independent of each other, right?
Yeah, I mean, what I have to ask you, what is the solution, if there is one, to getting companies to pay PR firms, what they are worth?
I think two. One is, I think as comms firms, we need to have really strong senior talent that can actually provide strong counsel to CEOs. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that on the other side, CCOs or corporate affairs heads also need to be strong enough to speak to the stakeholders, to bring the sort of agency in as a counselor and not just an implementer.
Yeah, okay. And before we go, I wanted to ask you just more broadly about the Asia-Pacific market. How are you seeing the year? It hasn't been the easiest of periods the last couple of years in Asia. You oversee a network with substantial operations in India, China, Singapore, Australia, and you've launched in Malaysia as well. So how are you seeing things from your regional perspective?
We've grown a bit. Region's done all right. I think the Asia-Pacific region is still one of probably the brightest spots in the rest of the world.
True. Yeah.
China's back to growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hear.
Yeah, China's done well, and touch wood, I'm hoping it'll continue to do well.
Yeah.
Singapore is, I mean, all our markets have grown. Australia has been flat, but that's okay. That's again a symptomatic of what the economy is doing in that market.
Yeah.
But broadly speaking, it's been a good growth. It's been a reasonably good growth here. If I just look at the other thing we are seeing in the region is, which I mentioned to you about senior counsels.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing we are also seeing is that with our offering around Chase Advisors, which is a policy offering, and a corporate advisor, which is out of Singapore, which is previously Varatava, and our AI and data advisory. So we're bringing all that together for clients now, and we're seeing really good traction around that as well.
Yeah.
So that's what Asia Pacific, I think, needs.
I think that's quite a significant change. It points or reflects the kind of specialization we're seeing. The policy piece I'm curious to ask you about, because Chase has been successful in India. It's quite unique and in a way I think quite pioneering. Is it easy to scale, to replicate, because local insight is so important?
Easy to scale? No, nothing is easy to scale. But but you're right. You need local insights. So we are scaling. We are trying to see how Malaysia kicked off. Malaysia is doing reasonably well. So we will try and scale into other areas, but it'll be considered. It'll be intentional. It will not be, we can't run policy for Malaysia out of India or for Vietnam out of India, right?
Right.
So it has to be considered. But we've got some really good, strong partners, and we're working together with them.
Yeah, especially in this sort of geopolitical moment we're in, right, where so much is dependent on what's happening at a domestic level. Yeah, right? It's very much domestic agendas, sometimes nationalistic.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Right.
You go to any market, it is that. It is
okay.
a lot of that.
Yeah.
But I actually think that the whole Asia region, Southeast Asia, is a growing region.
Yeah, no, I
And
agree with you.
think
I'm
it's gonna grow more.
I'm bullish. How's the tech sector? Because there was a slowdown in spending there. Has that recovered?
Better.
Yeah.
It's much better.
Okay.
You're seeing uplift in tech, even in health.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, consumer for us has always done well in the region.
Yeah.
So
Okay. And finally, I want to ask you, what's your take on brand India these days?
brand India is, or should I say, incredible India. Well, I think, okay, if I look at it from a comms perspective, there's enough complexity that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
It's going to grow. The economy is fine. Economy is growing. I think brand India per se, for the larger geopolitically, if you see it, it has its ups and downs with the sort of relationship with the US and who hasn't, right? So,
Yeah.
and we've had geopolitically, we've done trade deals with the Middle East,
Yeah.
with the UK, with the EU,
Yeah.
New Zealand, Australia. I think we're closing one with Canada.
And the US? Is the US one closed?
The US one is not closed.
It's
but
not.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
said it was. I'm sure someone said it was closed.
The whatever the tariffs etc.
Yeah.
got closed a while back. But anyway,
Yeah.
but from that perspective, India's done really well in closing some of those deals. But hey, geopolitics is like in today's day and age, brand India has had that challenge.
It's an unpredictable environment.
It's very unpredictable.
It has consequences for Indian brands as well. Right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And
Yeah.
listen, the Middle East crisis has not helped organizations in India. Supply chains have got disrupted. Inflation is a reality.
Yeah.
Right. So, I speak to all of our clients, and they're saying, whether nobody may not call it out, but supply chains are impacted, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So things are probably taking longer, and
Yeah.
I was in I think a couple of months back I was in Thailand,
Yeah.
and trying to shop for some furniture, and he said, I said, okay, we can try and ship it, and this person said, no, we can't ship it because we don't know the cost anymore. It's going to cost you double the amount. So a furniture shop in Bangkok is impacted.
Yeah, well, we know things are bad when it's impacting your furniture shopping plans. I mean,
So all I'm saying is that even a small place like that is impacted.
Yeah.
So therefore, there's a real impact. But is India still a strong economy? Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
it remains a strong economy.
Yeah.
Just the amount of consumerism that exists there, it's strong. And a lot of our clients are, of course, betting on tier 2, tier 3 markets growth.
Yeah. Right.
And we are all hoping for a good monsoon.
Yeah, well, that's another.
That's
thing.
another one.
Let's not get into that now.
Yeah.
We're not meteorologists.
No, we're not.
Well, we all are amateur meteorologists. Nitin, thank you so much. I hope you have a great week ahead of you in Cannes. A big thank you to We, and a big thank you to our production partners at Real Films.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Arun.